Hello, hello, hello. Well, let's get this going here. There we go. Is this not? Check, check, check. Well, it's 8 o'clock. Welcome to the Manuscript Society's virtual summer beach party. It's our August event. Usually we do something that's a little less formal. So we invite you all to join us tonight and be part of the fun. So let me get a screen up. We'll get you going. Let's see who's here. We got a good number of people tonight. Thanks. That's great. What we're going to do tonight is I'm going to unmute everybody at some point so we can all share and get some ideas. If you'd like to be on camera, we can share your screen and make you a presenter, or we can just share your camera and just make you one of the gang for the night. So I hope you have your favorite beverage and your favorite summer gear. Let's see if I need my glasses tonight. No, I think we'll be okay without them, and we'll just kind of get started. So let me pull up this and get this going here. We'll be all set. We got a nice crowd tonight. It'd be great. People from all over the place. Some folks from the Manuscript Society, some of the team on the Manuscript Society. Got some folks from the Society of American Archivists, some folks from the International Society of Appraisers, some of our Value This radio show listeners, and we'll see if we can kind of tie in with everybody here too. It's about 8:02. We're 2 minutes in. Let me pull up a screen and we'll see where we can go to. Give you some logistics to go along with this too. Let's do this right here. Show my screen. There we go. Let's do this. We'll bring this up from the beginning. We'll get you right from the start. There we go. Okay. So welcome to another Manuscript Monday. Again, like I said, this one's a little more relaxed than most of them. We'll get things going too. So what are we going to do tonight? What we usually do. We'll start off with the whole thing and get us going again, talking about who's our sponsor. The sponsor of this event is the Manuscript Society, a not-for-profit organization that's mission is to protect historical documents and manuscripts, preserve them, and educate the general public about the value of manuscripts and learn a little more about them. And that's what our webinar is all about. Why a webinar? It's an easy way to get everybody together, not have to drag them all across the country. You don't have to get on a plane. You can have yourself an adult beverage or an unadult beverage and sit right at your computer, whether it be out on the deck or in your office. Why now? It's a great time to do it. We do it the first Monday of the month, and unless there's a holiday on that Monday, and then we do Manuscript Monday on a Tuesday. Who is invited? As I mentioned before, we've invited the International Society of Appraisers, all the Manuscript Society members, Society of American Archivists, folks who are just collectors and interested in really interesting things. A lot of archivists and curators are on with us too, a lot of Manuscript Society members. Some of the Manuscript Society team is with us too. And I'll tell you what we're going to cover in just a little bit. I'll also tell you how you can get some more information on the Manuscript Society and some of the topics we're going to talk about tonight. So here's what we posted, and we said we're going to open it up to a virtual gathering of friends, a lively discussion, and a show and tell if you want. So hopefully you have your camera ready and your mic ready if you wish. We'll all have, we're all live right now. This is not recorded, although we are recording this, so you need to know that because we'll record it and put it up on the Manuscript Society website and connect it. We'll put it on our YouTube channel, link it to the Manuscript Society, so you can watch it later as many times as you want. If you're on with us, you can show your friends how famous you are, that hundreds of people saw you on the Manuscript Society website. So maybe you want to show us something from your favorite item from your collection. Maybe you want to ask some questions about collecting, what's hot and what's not. Maybe you have a story to share Maybe you want to talk about what's new in the auction market. I saw a couple of auctioneers on the call for tonight. If you're looking for a specific item, this is a great place to tell people what you collect and what you're looking for, or if you have something that you're deaccessioning from your collection or dumping for whatever reason, what you might have available as well. So also to find out what's new and going on at the Manuscript Society. I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about your publications, or just hang out and enjoy a virtual cocktail. There is a question section down here, and there's also a chat room. And if you look at your little control panel, which is somewhere on your screen, or if you have two screens on one of those screens, there's a spot where you can type in your question. I will see them. I will refer to them when I can and answer them the best I can along the way. If you want to chat, you have an opportunity to chat with the entire audience, a specific person in the audience, one of the other participants tonight, or direct it just at me, and you'll be able to see that. There's also a spot to raise your hand, and it's a little weird to figure it out because it's kind of counterintuitive, but there's a little button there, and you can see a little hand, and you click on the hand, and your hand goes up, and you'll see a little arrow in the middle of the hand. That means your hand's up, and if it's not, and then your hand goes down. But if you just blink that a couple of times, we'll know that you're with us. So why don't you just try that now? See if you can find your the hand. Oh, there, look at, oh, see, all the high-tech people have got their hands up instantly. Other people are still looking for the button. So that's good. Oh, hands are coming up and going down. This is great. Oh, good. Perfect. All right, you get it. You got it. You got it. So I'm going to put everybody's hand down, and where I can do that right here, and then we'll be all set. So thanks for checking. I see a lot of people that I'm going to talk to tonight and ask if they can share some things too. So that's just really cool. I'm going to put everybody's hand down now, and we're good to go. So that's what it's all about tonight. Hopefully you have you got a cocktail or a drink or a soft drink or a beer or something like that, and we'll get started. So raise your hand if you have something to chat about, and we'll get to that in just a second, and I'll open up your mic. If you have your camera, I can make you a presenter, which will allow us to either share your screen or to actually just see you too. So you might want to share a good book you've read lately, or something collecting related that you've seen in the news. What did you add or dump from your collection? What topics and subjects should we include in the Manuscript Monday in the future? And I see a few people on tonight that I think would be superb speakers. I won't put them on the spot, but I'll certainly ask if they have an interest in it. What particular speakers would you like to hear from? Who should we try to reach out to and find? And who might be a good future host as a moderator for these events? If it's not me, I'm just filling in. If somebody else wants to take it, I'd be delighted to see somebody else host this for a little while and see what's going on, ideas. Some of the things we might talk about, and again, entirely up to you. Oh, let's go back. What's the deal with NFTs, the non-fungible tokens? Are they a real thing? I mean, we know they're not a real thing, but are they going to be a player in the marketplace? Is it going to be a place that people are going to be investing in more than they are right now? What about auctions? Are there trends and updates, changes in the market? Are there bidding tips that we might want to talk about? What do archivists and curators really do? We know of many of them. Some of them are on the call tonight. We know a lot about what they do. Actually, Brad Cook was on a while back, and he talked about his work, but we really talked about more about museum and library etiquette. Your kids don't want your stuff. Now what do you do? Are there ways to do that? And there's some changes in charitable contribution regulations and procedures that we might want to chat about a little bit. So I'm going to back up a couple of slides, and we're just going to get it started. So I'm going to actually call on a couple of people, if I may, and I'm going to ask Barton. I'm going to unmute you if you don't mind, and I'm going to ask you a little bit about an interview that I heard something about an interview that you recently did that was published in a local publication. Barton, are you with us?
I am here.
There you are. Oh, it's so
Yeah,
nice to hear your voice. Would
you're
we
there
do we
everywhere.
do we want to see your face? Should I make you a presenter and you open your camera, or you just want to talk?
Well, I combed my hair.
Okay, then I think we're going to make you a presenter, and I'm going to just close this up a little bit, and we're going to get you going here. Give me a second to figure out how to do that. Make Barton Smith make presenter. Barton Smith presenter. Okay, I'm going to close this down a little bit here, and we should be able to see you come up on our screen somewhere. Webcams, everyone, view everyone. Let's see if we can view who's talking. I see me up there, and we have to get you up there. I hear you, but I don't see you just yet. So there we are. Barton Smith, presenter.
Camera's here.
Your camera's
Well,
on.
you
Send
talk-
webcam. I sent a webcam request to you to see if
share
that,
my webcam. There, you got it.
are you up?
I think so.
Let's see. Oh, there you are. Look at that. Well,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, my good friend and distinguished colleague, Barton Smith. How are you, sir?
I'm in the glare. I'm okay. How are you? Thank you for organizing this entertainment that keeps us off the streets on a Monday night.
That's true, because there's so much to do on a Monday night on the streets around your neck of the woods, huh?
Pennsylvania Dutch country, it's pretty quiet.
There you go. Tell me a little bit about the recent interview that I heard about.
I'm okay. This was for the FABs, the bibliophile organization, and it was moderated. The moderator is much more interesting than the interviewee. Really, Jennifer Larson is a professor at Kent State University. She is a classicist. She teaches Latin and Latin and Greek history. And I would have much rather talked about that than about the autograph and manuscript world. But she, for some reason, wanted to talk about autographs and manuscripts. So I babbled on for a long time. Unfortunately, she edited it. And I think most of what you get is probably accurate. If anybody has objections or corrections, I'd be happy to hear them. But anyway, we talked in general. She was coming from the place of being executive of the FABS, the bibliophilic organization of
Sure.
book authors, and they wanted to know something about people who took pen in hand, I guess, we might say.
hmm That's great. Any things that stand out that you'd like to share? I know we're gonna put the link up at the end so people can find you and check that out. But any highlights that you'd like to share with us tonight?
Well, as I say, I think most of what I said was accurate and true, but if anybody wants to correct me, they're welcome to. No, we covered pretty basic stuff. Probably most of the people who are watching this could have done a better job telling her about manuscripts and autographs than I did.
I doubt that, but you go ahead.
I did tell her to check out our Manuscript Society website about such things as auto pens and forgeries, and I think there's a lot of information that I hope I directed people to the right place.
I'm sure, and I imagine you've forgotten more about collecting autographs, manuscripts, and historical documents than most people in the world know, because you have quite a collection. Your specialty?
Well, I started out with Darwin and expanded to most of the people in the Victorian world. And one thing I did point out was that, in the 19th century, the general public and people like politicians were much more informed about a subject such as evolution, about Darwinism,
hmm
than people are today. They were much more informed. So everybody had an informed opinion. There wasn't a whole lot of baloney. And so
Yeah.
as a result, my wife Christina, she claims that I collect anybody who lived in the Victorian era, which is almost true, almost true. But they all were interested in the subject of evolution.
hmm
Yeah.
Now, was that because it was a hotter topic then, the Scopes trial, Darwin's work, or is it just we today you don't think we're paying as much attention to the science?
Probably all of them, but the Scopes trial was long after the Victorian era,
Right, right. That's
but
true. Yeah, yeah.
but no, I think in general people they didn't have the internet and other things to distract them from the important issues of life and death.
You mean there was no manuscript Monday?
If they could have, they would have.
Mm, that's very kind.
They could have.
That's
They would.
great. Are you still adding to your collection and building on
No,
it, or
no, there are very few things. Although, as long as you say that, I am going to forgive me, but it's taking up this time. But
No, this is why we're doing this.
I'm in the process of writing another article, God forbid, for our journal for manuscripts. And this one is going to be on the Nobel Prizes of 1906. When
Really?
I looked through the collection, it turned out that I had 4 of the 6 people who received Nobels in that year.
Wow.
And it turned out to be a very interesting year. Now, I don't have 2 examples, and if anybody can direct me to as an example that I could use for my article, I don't think I want to buy them. But there were two of the less famous people who got prizes that year, and those were the winners in literature, which is a dude by the name of Giosuè Carducci,
Really?
who lived born in 1835. He got the literature prize. A guy by the name of Frederic Moissan was a Frenchman, won the prize in chemistry. He was born in 1852. Both of them died shortly after they received the Nobel in December of 1906.
Wow.
Both of them died in 1907. The guy, Moissan, the chemistry guy, came home from the Nobel ceremony with appendicitis, which was a kiss of death in those days.
Yeah.
And the other guy, the poet died of cirrhosis.
Wow.
We can only speculate what he was doing. I don't know. But they are 2 interesting guys, and if anybody has those as examples of their signatures that I could use, of their writing that I could use in the article, I'm in the process of getting it ready shortly. I have the other just okay. Close this out. The other 4 were the 2 that I was most interested in are the ones who got physiology and medicine, which are 2 histologists who defined the fine architecture of the nervous system.
Wow.
Camillo Golgi and Santiago, an Italian, and Santiago Ramon y Cajal, a Spaniard. They both, Golgi first, they did the fine structure of the nervous system, the tissues. They were pathologists, histologists. And they shared the prize. And then at the award ceremony, they dissed each other. Okay, this was
no, come on.
I'm not kidding you. I mean, this is probably the only time they both said this. He's full of baloney, and he's full of baloney. And I have, unfortunately, I'm lucky to have it. I have Golgi's a printed copy of his Nobel, his ceremony, his lecture at the Nobel Prize, which he gave in French. And then I have a nice autograph of Santiago Ramon y Cajal. But anyway, they got the 2 prizes. The Peace Prize was given to the first American to win a Nobel.
Wow.
Who would that be?
The first American to win.
First American, 1906.
1906.
First American to win a Nobel Prize, and he got the Peace Prize. Teddy Roosevelt.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it was controversial. It was maybe this was maybe one of the first controversies because people objected because of his role in the Spanish-American War and they didn't think that was compatible with the Peace Prize. So that's 3, and then I got the 4th one. The physics prize was given to J.J. Thomson, an Englishman who was the first to discover a subatomic particle. He discovered the electron. Amazing thing. You know, for 2,000 years, from the time Democritus and Lucretius, or whatever their names were, the Greeks, said that the atom was the smallest bit of matter.
Right.
It was indivisible, and then Thomson proved them wrong. Now we know there are at least 20 subatomic particles.
Yes.
None of which live as long as the electron, neutron, and proton. So
very cool.
But anyway, I'm lacking the other 2 who I mentioned, and I would, I need them.
Got it. Hey, Allison, go ahead, please.
I don't have anything else. I don't have anything to show, but I want to suggest to people that if they want to see an interesting thing on YouTube, they look up really not I'm playing the piano, but YouTube, look up Barton Smith, What a Wonderful World. I think
all right, I'm putting that up there. Barton Smith, What a Wonderful World. I probably didn't spell it right. I didn't get closest.
A wonderful singer, a wonderful bassist, wonderful tune, and a bunch of photos that I took from all over the world.
All right, I'm putting that up there. Barton Smith, What a Wonderful World. And I've heard you play, and you are incredible, by the way.
That's my show and tell.
Got it. Okay. I'm going
Thank
to
you,
write
Brian.
search YouTube for. Okay. I'm putting it up there. I don't type very well, but I'll get there. Good. And and apparently you didn't wait long enough to get an answer about your Teddy Roosevelt question, because Allison Burnett said, I tried to raise my hand. I knew that about Teddy, she says. And Brad, I'm going to unmute Brad.
Okay.
You know what? We're going to unmute Allison, because she was right there. Allison, I'm going to unmute you. Okay.
Another question for her.
It's coming. It should coming up. We're going to get her mic on, and
Another
maybe she'll have.
question for
Maybe.
her.
Oh, you got a question for her?
About
There she
Teddy
is.
Roosevelt.
Hi, Allison. Are you there?
For everybody.
Yes, I have a surprise for you. I'm the only Allison in America who's male.
Oh, very cool. Thank you. And I apologize if I got the pronoun wrong. I am so sorry. Thank
get
you,
it
Allison.
every day.
My
get it
bad.
every day. I have no pronoun problems at all. I just have a strange and odd name. It's my father's name and my son's.
So how did you know about Teddy before Barton asked you question number 2?
Because I'm filled with trivia. I think I even youngest. I think the youngest to ever win, wasn't it Rudyard Kipling? Wasn't it?
Is that true?
I don't know. I take that as likely.
I'm certainly the youngest in literature. I think he was something ridiculous, like 39 or 37 or 40 or something really young. So I just have a lot of trivia in my head. I collect 20th century largely ephemera. So I have
Oh, no kidding.
20,000 pieces of paper right here in my office. Historical ephemera. I mean, I have stuff that directly relates to chapters of American history. Like I love the Spanish Civil War, the Abraham Lincoln Brigade. I have a lot of left-wing labor stuff, a lot of Japanese internment, just a lot of, and I love paper. And I'm not a high-end guy. I don't go to big fancy auctions and spend a fortune. I'm somewhere between that and a garbage picker, but I go to paper shows, I go to eBay, I scrounge around. And actually the thing I wanted to share with you today, which I think Barton would appreciate, it's pre-Victorian, is just to show you that a collector, that the cliche of Los Angeles isn't true. I went to the crappiest department sale you can ever imagine about 15 years ago. No, I don't mean to be judgmental, but this woman holding this sale looked like she was trying to raise money to buy methadone. I mean, she was really gone. And it was just a pile of junk. And just junk. And I wander through this depressing little apartment with all this crap, and I look on the bed, and there's 3 really old books sitting there. Turns out somehow she ended up with them from her grandfather. 2 of them were kind of random and not interesting me. The third one, I open it. I'm holding it right now in my hand. I had it rebound beautifully.
Should we turn your camera on?
Sure.
All right, let's do that.
Sure.
Make presenter. I'm gonna make you the panelist. And then we're going to open your camera up here. Where did you just go? All right, you're up here on my panelist thing. All right, now I'm going to click on your camera so we sent you a webcam request so you can come on screen with us.
And there I am. Great. Hold on, my son is urgently wanting to talk to me, and it's never urgent. And I'm gonna tell him that I am on a Zoom. Okay. Anyway, so this is and if you look, you can see behind me there's like Pearl Harbor, and if you look over there, all those binders.
I don't see your camera yet. Do you see him?
I'm sorry. Hold on. I see myself. Hold on.
I think you got to click. There you go. You should pop up in a moment. There you go.
Okay.
Hey, all right.
Right behind me is Pearl Harbor, and there's a bunch of, and there's Russian War relief. And if I turn all those binders, and there's twice as many on the other side, or the same amount, are all packed with ephemera in different subjects. And many of them are actually subjects that don't end. Like I have an entire album on automotive, and I don't really care about cars. But when I see something beautiful and special, I have to get it if it's reasonable and save it from the junk pile. So anyway, this is the book. Right?
Okay.
Imagine this crappy little apartment. I did have it rebound along the spine. This is original. It was a beautiful book, but the spine was loose. And what struck me about it was I opened it, and it said, first I see a beautiful book plate. William Bateman of Middletown by Yalgrave in the county, beautiful book plate. And it's dated 1818. And then I open it to the first page and I notice that it's a collection of Byron. But what this man has done, who was a book collector, is he annotated the entire book. He wrote in all the margins in the most beautiful, tiny handwriting. He put every note, everything he wanted to say. And he would take clippings from the newspaper and he would glue them in. So he was a real scholar, you know, a real archivist scholar who was trying to do this. And this is 1818. So then in 1822, he put July 8th, 1822. That date seems late. I wonder why. Anyway, maybe that's when he put it in. There's this little clipping and it says, Shelley, the writer of some infidel poetry, for the republication of which a man of the name of Clark either has been or is about to be prosecuted, is dead. He perished at sea, says an account in the Morning Chronicle, in a storm. And his friend, Captain Williams of the Fusiliers, on the evening of the 8th, somewhere off Via Regia, on the coast of Italy, between Ligorno, he calls it Leghorn, and the Gulf of Spezia. He had been to Pisa and was returning to his country abode. So he put Shelley's obituary in this book of Byron. I just think it's so magical. And he bound a couple of small editions of Byron. He had them threaded together and then bound the book. One of them is called English Bards and Scotch Reviewers, a satire by Lord Byron. And I think there's a second book that he put in the back. Anyway, so to me, that's just an example of the treasures that you can find in the most unlikely places.
That is amazing. Did you ever find out how she acquired this or where it came from or any history?
About her grandfather, that like he collected something. Like he lived in Pasadena or something. So there was a connection to old culture from this woman. And
That's
she wasn't
great.
She charged me $80, which shocked me. I thought she was going to be $5.
Well, you know the price of meth these days. You know. Barton, you had a question for Allison?
Yeah, for the general, Teddy Roosevelt not only was the first American to get a Nobel and won the Peace Prize, he also got a big honor which was unique to he's the only president to have received it. And it was given posthumously. Congress awarded it to him. Know what that
Congressional
was?
Medal of Honor.
That's right.
The Congressional Medal
That's right. He was nominated. He was nominated by the general at San Juan Hill, by his general, for his actions in Cuba, and he never received the Medal of Honor. After he died, the Congress decided to give it to him. But there's another story which you'll have to read in my article when it comes out in Manuscripts.
He was also the youngest president to ever serve, but not the youngest to ever be elected, because he served because McKinley was killed.
Sure.
And so he was very young, like 39, I think, or something ridiculous. And then, Kennedy ran when he was younger, but served younger.
Wow, that's great. Well, first one to fly in a plane too, wasn't he? First one to fly in an airplane, Teddy Roosevelt. Would that make sense when you think about that timeline? Don't know if I read that right.
I know who was the first president to be born in a hospital. I love this question.
I'm gonna think like Calvin Coolidge or something that late. Is that right? Is that close?
It's much later.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
anybody? Let's see if any hands go up. Let's see if we got any hands going up with ideas. Mark, we're gonna unmute you there. I'm assuming that you've raised your hand for this question. So Mark Grossman, you're up if you can unmute yourself. Unless you just left your hand up by mistake.
No,
Mark, you there?
I think can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Yeah, no. I think that my hand was left up from before, so I don't have an answer to that question.
Okay.
I do later on. I do have something to show later on.
All right, good. We will do that. I see. Christian Dahl just put his hand up. And I'm sorry, I unmuted Brad. We'll give Brad a shot at it. And I'll unmute Christian too.
I'm going to say can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it's somebody fairly later. I'm going to guess Kennedy.
You're getting closer.
Okay. All right, Christian, you're up. You're up, buddy.
Rich, when
think
you're
it's
that rich, you would sit at home and you would have, Rose Kennedy just kept popping them out in Hyannisport, surrounded by staff. They're very wealthy. Like for go to a hospital it just wasn't done until later.
All right, Christian Dahl's got the mic. Christian, what do you think?
I think it's Jimmy Carter.
Yes.
Wow.
Jimmy Carter, look at that. Look at that.
That's
All good guesses. Christian, is something you just knew or have you been following Carter?
No, I just knew that somehow.
Uh-huh.
It's stuck
that's
in my
the thing. These weird things stick in our heads.
Neat. Good guess, Brad. Good.
I
And
think
Mark
the
just chickened
youngest
out. He wasn't
winner-
even taking a shot, but we'll give him the mic a little bit later on.
Youngest winner of the Nobel Literature Prize was Rudyard Kipling, and I think the second youngest was Albert Camus.
Okay.
I think he was somewhere like around 42, 41, something like that.
Wow,
Boy,
that's
yeah.
great. Good stuff. I'm gonna kind of pass the mic around if I may. Allison, can we turn you off? And Barton, I'm gonna cut you loose unless you got anything to wrap up, and then we're gonna see who else is up. Thank you both. That was great. All right, I gotta figure out how to undo you guys.
And if anybody has any great
Go ahead.
ephemera that you can always find me online, Allison Burnett. I'm easy to find. I have a website, and I'm always looking for reasonably priced, fascinating pieces of paper.
So if you just search your name, Allison Burnett, with 2 L's, we'll find you, and 2 T's.
I have a website. Yeah, I love leaflets and pamphlets and photos, and I love handbills and political things. Anything small and papery, I love. So.
Tell me about the Remember Pearl Harbor behind you. Where did that come from? That looks like a big. Is that a big metal sign?
I found that at a Beverly. It's wooden, hand painted wooden sign. I found it in a Beverly Hills estate sale, and it was in the garage. And it was sitting with a bunch of crap and the tools and stuff, and it was sitting up there and in an unlikely place. I love it. It's just an amazing piece of folk art to me.
That's great.
Strange thing to find at the weirdest places. Yeah.
For sure. Good deal. All right, I'm going to unpanelist you. I don't know how I do this. Let's see how I can get rid of. I want to make you. I don't know how I unpanelize you. I'm going to see if you can. That's it.
Panelized.
We do it.
That's it. We can leave you there. There we go. I don't know. We got rid of Barton. I hope I didn't hang up on him.
No,
Right. Oh, you just turned your.
Oh,
you just turned your.
turn the screen off.
I can do that. There you go.
Turn your screen off. There you go. Good deal. I'm going to mute you guys too, just so we can get somebody else up here too. I'm going to talk to Kevin. Kevin is out there. Kevin has the most interesting collection and life and amazing things. Where is he? Maybe I lost him. He was here a minute ago. Oh, I think he's gone. Oh, I wanted to bring him up here too. Bruce, Christian, Carolyn. Hang on, I'm looking. All right, we'll go back to Mark. Mark had something he wanted to share. So, Mark, I'm going to unmute you and get you back up again. Should we turn your camera on, sir?
Yeah, if it works.
All right, I'm going to make you a panelist, and that should bring you up next here. And we should be okay. Let's see what's going on here. I'm going to, all right. You should be able to bring your camera up. There you go. I'm going to ask you to, I just sent you a webcam request.
Oh yeah, share my webcam. That's what I do.
That's the one. That's the one. Yep.
Okay, let's see if I'm on there. There I go.
There you go. And I'm going to see how I can get Barton's screen undone. Request keyboard mouse. Send chat. I'm not sure quite how to do that, but we'll go with Mark. You're all set, Mark. We got you.
Okay, how you doing? So first, I'm sort of a fairly new member to the Manuscript Society, maybe a year or two, and I really appreciate the opportunity to have these Zoom things because get a chance to learn and interact with the members. So building off of what Barton was talking about, I collect autographs of chemists, scientists, some astronomers, and I also have kind of a weird connection with meteorites. I have autograph letters that deal with people who researched meteorites, who collected meteorites, who traded meteorites. And I actually have some of the meteorites that go with the letters. So I'm sort of and the meteorites came from the autographs. So it's sort of a dual collection. But be that as it may, Barton was talking about atoms and chemists or whatever it was. Well, one of the most famous chemists is John Dalton. And John Dalton, for those of you who remember your chemistry, he's the one that says each atom is individual, each atom has weight, they combine in certain portions. And to this day, the unit of atomic weight or mass is called the Dalton. So in any
Mhm.
event, I was able to get, hopefully you could see this. This
Yeah.
is, can you see his signature there, John Dalton, on the bottom
John
there?
Dalton at the bottom, yep, of the second, the middle line there,
Yeah.
above
So this,
Edward somebody,
yeah, and then a
below
couple of
Edward
other
somebody.
people there. Thomas Henry is over on one side, and
Yep.
this is the Manchester and Literary Philosophical Society, and it's sort of like an American philosophical society. In England, in the more like industrial cities outside of London, they started to form things like the Royal Society much later. So
Mhm.
Manchester Society was one of those, and John Dalton did all his work on the atomic theory, you know, on what I just described between the years 1808 and 1811, let's say.
Okay.
And this certificate is dated 1810. And you can
Right.
see he was vice president of the society at the time, and he had a laboratory in the society. So he was signing the membership certificate for this man, David Holt, okay, while
Wow.
he was doing all his research on the atomic theory. So this is
Wow.
one of my prized collections. They're few and far between, these membership certificates.
That's great. And what created your interest in meteorites?
I started to, I bought a letter at an auction that just was involved another chemist. Without going into a lot of details, his name was Smithson Tennant. He traveled over
Okay.
to France. So I started to do a little research on why was he traveling over to France. And to make a long story short, he was taking a meteorite over to show to Alexander Humboldt. So
No.
so that just, I said, and I still remember the moment I read that. They call the meteorites in French, and pardon my French accent, pierres de chutes, stones that have fallen, right? So I remember asking my
Yeah.
wife, I said, she knows some French. I says, what's a pierres de chutes? I didn't know what it was. And then it was meteorites. And so from that time on, I got interested not only in the chemists and the scientists, but also in meteorites and whatever. So I'm a member of the Manuscript Society. I'm a member of the what would be a parallel organization in the meteorite
Sure.
world. I collect both, and I've written some articles in some academic journals on the topic. So it's a passion of mine.
That's great. We had a nationally syndicated radio program called Value This with Brian and Leon. People would call in with their stuff, and they call in ahead of time so we can kind of prepare a little bit and be ready to go. And some kid called in. He said, "I got a meteorite. It's about this big, and it's this big around." And he sent a picture of it, and we didn't know. So we were at a university in New Jersey. So I went and found someone from the astronomy department, and I said, "Would you come on with us and be our special
Wow.
guest, and we'll hear the story and all that kind of stuff." Well, the guy said, we asked how he found it. He said it fell through the roof of his motorhome, and he found it on his bed. and I said, but yeah, there's a big chunk out of it. There's like a big dent missing. I said, what was that? He goes, well, we weren't sure what it was, so we dropped it off a bridge to see if it would
Oh,
crack.
God.
And the astronomer concluded it was not a meteorite; it was a meteor wrong,
Right.
and it was
Wrong. That's what they
something
call them.
like that. But
Can
but
I
it
just tell a
sounds.
quick
Go ahead.
anecdote? There's
Yeah.
one meteorite called the Peekskill meteorite, and what happened was a young woman parked her car outside a street in Peekskill, New York, and
Okay.
believe it or not, a meteorite came down and hit the mailbox and also damaged the car that was parked
Oh,
outside
a
the
real one? No
street. This is
kidding.
true story. It's true story. So can you imagine the father or the woman calling up the insurance company, and she says, "I said a meteorite hit my car. What was it? Now, was that car a comet? No, a meteorite
Yeah,
hit
it
the car.
was
No, I never heard of a
common.
meteorite before, you know?"
That's too funny. Oh, that's too funny. Good deal. Hey, Barton, by the way, Brad said that if you give him those names, email the name of those signatures. Brad Cook, by the way, said he'll conduct some research for you, see what he can find, knowing the outstanding archivist that he is, and he'll be able to find something for you too. Hey, Mark, thanks for checking in. Where's home,
Oh,
by the
thank
way,
you.
for you? Are you on the West Coast?
I'm around 25 miles north of New York City in Briarcliff Manor.
Oh, okay. All right. Good deal. All right. East Coast guy. Good
All
deal.
right, thanks for the
Very good.
opportunity.
Stay there. I'm going to kind of disconnect your camera there and mute you, and we're going to go on to see who else has some other things that might want to chat about. Where's the rest of my crew here too? Let me do this. Give me a second. I got to press buttons and do all those kind of things too. All right, he's out and Mark's off too, but he's still with us too. All right, I'm going down the list. Let's see who's got their hand up. Brad, you got your hand up too. Is there anything I can help you with? I'm going to unmute you there.
I think that was from something earlier,
All
sorry.
right, no worries. How about
But
Roger?
if you,
Go ahead.
I do
Go ahead.
have
I'm
a
sorry.
show and tell, but use other people first.
Do you have a show and
Use
tell?
me as a last resort.
All right, I'm gonna go. I got Roger and Thomas both have their hands up, so I'm gonna go to them. I'm gonna mute you again just for a second. And Roger, I see you got your hand up. Got anything to share, my friend?
Yeah, I don't know
Say again.
how to unmute.
Oh, you are unmuted. I can hear you now. You sound
All right.
great. We got you.
I actually have a show and tell. If
All right,
you're
I'm gonna make you a panelist, and then we're gonna be able to share your screen. Let me get you up here, and I got you on, Roger,
actually,
panelist.
as a preview while you're doing that, I'll say that I'm actually a numismatist.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's lately that I've really gotten involved in manuscripts.
Uh-huh.
A couple of books, one, The Coins of Colonial Virginia, and
Oh,
my
wow.
interests are primarily pre-federal manuscripts. And the one that I have to show and tell is, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this.
Well, I have your, you have to turn your camera on. I sent you a web request, so you should be able to click your camera on. And if you have something on a screen, you can share your screen. Let's see.
I don't know how to turn the camera on.
Okay. If you take a look at your GoToMeeting up at your toolbar at the top says GoToMeeting. There you go. You're on. I have your fingers on the keyboard. Oh,
Okay.
You were there a second ago. Let's see. We got you there somewhere.
I'm partially there now, but I think I'm overlapping you. Oh, okay.
That's okay. I see you. I see you.
All right. So this is an unpredisposing picture of a drawing. And what this drawing is something that came out of the estate of Francis Hopkinson.
Oh, no kidding.
The signer of the Declaration of Independence and a member of the Continental Congress. He was a delegate from New Jersey in the Continental Congress, and he, as you know, in 1776, all the colonies changed from being colonies to the Confederation of States. And so each of the states that had previously been using seals to stamp and make some kind of an official documentation of documents was from before that time, where they were still colonies, were done by whoever got the charter for that area. So for Pennsylvania, it was William Penn. For Maryland, it was Lord Baltimore, and on, Lord York and New York. So each of these places used a different seal. Well, once they became states, they had to develop their own seals for official documents. And so in 1776, each of the states started seeking people to produce stamps, great seals for that state. And a guy called Richard Smith, who was assigned the committee by the legislature of New Jersey, was given the job of finding somebody to do it and to develop some ideas as far as the design. Well, he chose this guy, Francis Hopkinson, who was known as an artist, and also he had been involved in developing the Great Seal of the United States. And this was in 1776. Well, Francis Hopkinson approached another fellow, Eugene Pierre de Cimetière, who was actually from Switzerland, but came over when he was 20 years old, and basically developed a following of people because of his artistic ability. He was also the one to make the first museum in the country, and that was in Philadelphia. So he was asked by Hopkinson to join him in producing the seal. Now, if you read a lot of the literature and a lot of the things that are posted online, de Cimetière is given full priority as having been the inventor of the design that was used on the seal. That's
Right.
actually, it was turned out that this picture that I have, which came out of the estate of Francis Hopkinson, shows that this is a very close representation of all the design features of what was the eventual design accepted by the legislature of New Jersey as the Great Seal of New Jersey.
That's a great piece. That's so cool.
So I've written, or I'm writing an article for the Journal of Early American Numismatics that basically says that, by the way, the seal, once it was presented, was really hated by a whole group of people. They said that, and the reason it was hated was because the committee, Richard Smith's committee, had put what factors they wanted in the seal, and they didn't mention having a date, and they didn't mention of having a helmet over the horse's head.
Oh, geez.
And so because of that, it got high criticism, but all the criticism went to de Cimetière. And, you know, Hopkinson kind of sailed across this whatsoever. But to be honest with you, de Cimetière, I think this thing proves that de Cimetière was very active in it. And what I also got in that was the award in 1777. The award was presented when the final thing was accepted by the legislature. And by the way, the meeting of the legislature, the New Jersey legislature's assembly, was supposed to be up in Trenton, but because the British were coming down at that time and battling, they had to move down to Haddonfield to the Indian. There was a place in Haddonfield, a tavern that they went to, and they had their meeting there up in the attic of this tavern, and they made a presentation to Hopkinson of this award.
That's so cool.
Which has the emblem right in the middle of it, one of the first emblems that was actually imprinted.
Oh, the design. That's wonderful. Roger, I'm going to cut you short because I want to get a few more people in, if I may. We're going to do this again.
I just want to share that.
One more time.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that, so thank you for letting me present that.
Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing it, too. We look forward to seeing your article. Reach out to me and let us know where, and we'll make sure we promote it and make sure that people can find it, all righty?
It'll be in the Journal of Early American Numismatics. I have two papers coming out next in the December issue, and I just had one come out in this issue, the one that just came out. So.
That's great. Hey, I had Tom Carter. Christian, you had your hand up. I want to know if we need you, but I'm going to go to Thomas Carter next, who's been waiting patiently there. Thank you, Roger. It was great. Tom, are you there? Thomas Carter, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Very late where I am. It's about 2 a.m. over here.
Oh my gosh, where are you?
Scotland.
My goodness. Oh, that's wonderful. Whereabouts in Scotland? Whereabouts in Scotland are you?
Glasgow. So just
Glasgow.
One of the big two. We've only got two big cities here, so there's not too many.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna let you turn your camera on if you want, so people can see what people from Scotland look like. Where are you? Well, thanks for staying up or getting up late for us too. There you are. Well, thank you so much. Oh, look at that. Good deal. Go ahead.
So I'm a dealer in rare books, manuscripts based in the UK. So I just brought out a few little bits and pieces to show quickly.
Oh, great.
So this is very big. It's a print of the Sun newspaper, which is a horrible British tabloid, for anyone who doesn't know. And this is a print of George W. Bush and Tony Blair, and it is signed in the mount by George W. Bush to the owner of the Sun newspaper, which is Rupert Murdoch.
Murdoch, yeah.
An amazing association print of two massive conservative figures.
That's great. Cool. That's a great piece. That's so cool.
I hate having it in the house, but it's there. And since we were talking about Theodore Roosevelt earlier, I pulled this. I ran around pulling this out. The glint is not really showing.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll get there. Oh, there it is. I can see the signature along the folded line there, huh?
Typical TLS, but it's 1898, September of 1898, which is when he was still a Rough Rider. So this is
Yeah.
a
Can
Rough
you read?
Rider.
We can't quite make the text out. Can you read us the text, the
It
content?
says, I'm exceedingly sorry, but have already engaged with the Scribners. So he's basically turning down a publisher for his war memoirs, which is always a nice little thing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's great.
Lastly, just want everyone to have a little shot as well.
No, this is good.
We've got this little book. It doesn't really look like very much. It's Satires of Circumstance by Thomas Hardy. Lovely sort of grouping of poetry by Thomas Hardy. But when you look on the inside, there's a lovely little book plate, and it says from the library of T. Lawrence. And it's from his library at Clouds Hill, which was his little cottage that he stayed in at Dorset. And if you've ever seen photos of the cottage, there's a bed and there's stacks of books around the bed, and he just lay there and read a million books. And
wow,
he's initialed it in the top.
That's so great. Look at that. That's incredible.
Hardy and Lawrence were lifelong friends. They lived within a couple of miles of each other, and this has actually got a lot of underwritten annotations by Lawrence as he was reading it, and it's heavily worn, presumably by Lawrence at some point. So it's a really nice little piece of Lawrence.
That's great.
That's myself now.
That's wonderful. So not only you're a collector, you're a dealer. Did you say you're a dealer of these books and manuscripts as well?
So I run Carter Rare Books. So we're based in the UK. I've been a member of the Manuscript Society for a couple of years. I'm a member of the PBFA. One of the sort of the newer generation of dealers. So it's certainly in no way historical autograph collecting going anywhere. It's staying. It's just going to be a new group of people.
That's as well it should be. I'm glad you're keeping it going. And thanks so much for staying up late.
It was a struggle. I've been sitting here with Coca-Cola, and we've got there.
That's great. Well, we kind of considered just figuring East Coast, West Coast of the United States with a 3-hour time difference, not the 8 or 10 or 12-hour difference. Maybe we'll have a UK version, and we'll start at midnight our time.
Next time. That'll be good.
That'll work. Very good.
Lovely talking to you.
That's great. Thanks so much. I'm looking to see who else might have their hand up here, and I see Bradley has his hand up. So with that, thank you so much, Thomas. That's great. Brad, I'm turning you on here, okay? And I'm going to make you a panelist as well, so we can see you somewhere, and you should be able to turn your camera on too. I may have to make that request for you. You should be able to. There you go. Hey, nice to see you again.
Hey, how are you?
Good. A couple of months ago, you were running the show, weren't you?
Oh, not really. That was you.
Was great. No, that was fun. We had a great time. So what's cooking?
Well,
Bradley Cook is our editor of manuscripts and is and I'm not going to get the title right. So tell us what you do at Indiana University.
I'm the photograph curator at the University Archives.
Got it.
And I'm finishing my 30th year there, if you can imagine that. I can't imagine that.
Are they going to name a wing after you soon, I hope?
No.
Not a building? No?
Never.
Sports field? Nothing, huh?
No, I don't think so.
No, the pub.
When my pictorial history eventually comes out, that'll be my monument.
There you go. That'll be wonderful. So what do you got for us tonight?
Well, I pulled something out of my small collection, because most of the things I've sold over the years, but I'll just show it to you really briefly here. And then I'm going to read part of it to you. Oops, let me get that right. Yeah, you can get an idea, but this is from 1798. It's signed by British Admiral Peter Parker. I'm sorry, Hyde Parker. And I'll just read it to you really quick.
Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, it's Hyde. There was a British Admiral Peter Parker, but this is actually Hyde Parker. Yeah, there was.
Got it.
So I'll just read this to you, part of it really quickly because it's a lot of fun. So it starts off by Sir Hyde Parker, Vice Admiral of the Red, blah, blah, blah. Captain Dobson of His Majesty's ship Queen, having represented to me by letter of this day's date that there is on board the said ship a quantity of flour received from the contractor in March last, which is full of vermin and stinking, and was found on opening the several casks to be in that state, which the men refused to take and which is really unfit for them to eat. And he having likewise represented that there also 2 casks of pork received at the same time from contractors, so perfectly rotten and stinking as to be a nuisance to the ship and unfit for men to eat, and therefore I would order the said flour and pork to be surveyed. So it goes on, and then on the opposite side is the survey signed by 3 captains of other ships, stating that the pork and the flour is actually stinking and rotten and was thrown overboard. So I really haven't done any research into this. I want to. I've been meaning to for years.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a fun item.
That's a great piece. That's good. Are there things that you collect in particular, or do you just find these really fascinating, unusual items that just catch your fancy?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I found, I got into autograph collecting when I was collecting movie posters originally, when I was still in high school. And that kind of led to ephemera, and ephemera led to autographs. And I mean, I don't have a whole lot of autographs. I do have a neat, let me pull it here. It's a signed Felix, Count Felix von Luckner. He was a German World War I captain, kind of famous. He was known as the Sea Devil. If you look him up, he's kind of fun to read about. So, and I have a few other things, but most stuff I just don't have anymore. And most of my movie posters are gone too. I kept a few. I kept my Star Wars. I'll never get rid of that. And I still have a Blade Runner and Back to the Future and some other Star Wars related posters. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Good deal. Well, that's great. Well, thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing with us too. We're going to switch you off now, and then we're going to wrap up and see if we can done just by 9 o'clock, just like we promised. We will be ready to go. So Brad has recused himself from our being a staff member there too, and I'm going to switch back to showing my screen number 2 and go into the slideshow, play from current slide, and that should pop up. So we kind of talked a little bit about this. I'm going to scoot past this. We've covered a lot of ground. What I want to know, if you want to drop me an email at some time along the way, you're going to get an email. Let me just pass it. I'll do this real quick, and I'll tell you where we're going. A couple of resources for you. Manuscripts. This is the journal that Brad Cook edits. He's always looking for good articles and stories. It's a fabulous journal. It's produced by the Manuscript Society. Manuscript Society News. Pat Vaccaro takes care of that, and she puts together some really great information about that. That's another place you can go if you're a member of the Manuscript Society. If not, you probably won't see those. Here's what's coming up. In May 17th to 24th, we're going to Hollywood. That's where our annual meeting is going to be in Los Angeles, so don't miss that. Look for more information on that, and some quick final thoughts before I talk about what's coming up next. There's going to be a certificate of attendance. You have to decide how education this is, and I spelled certificate wrong. So did I? Yeah, I may have. In any event, look for it in the email. You're going to get an email at the end that says, thanks for joining us. You can respond to that email with me. Let me know the topics you're interested in, the stuff you want to see as we move forward. If you have suggestions for another host of this, let me know. Let me know the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want to make this as productive and wonderful for you as possible. That certificate is going to be attached to that email. It takes forever to download. Click the download button, go get a cup of coffee, and come back 5 minutes later. If you can't download it and you want it, drop me an email, respond to that email, send it back to me. I'll find a way to get it down. You can watch this webinar anytime. It's going to show up on the Manuscript Society site. It'll send you a link right to our YouTube channel. Give me a couple of weeks to get it up and we'll be all set. Thank you to the trustees and the staff of the Manuscript Society for making this happen, and for you for being a part of it. If you're not a member of the Manuscript Society, you can join right now at manuscript.org. No S on that, manuscript.org. A lot of information on there and resources, even if you're not a member. And with that, I will say good night to all. And thank you so much for an amazing evening. If you have friends that couldn't make this, but they've signed up, they'll also get an email that says, sorry you missed it. That webinar, this webinar, by the way, and all the others are available for free to anybody. Don't even have to be a Manuscript Society member. Just go to manuscript.org. You'll find the links, and you can listen to all the half a dozen or so webinars we've done for Manuscript Monday. Have a great week. Here's to you and the rest of the summer. Good night.